Everybody knows the guy piano stops and Carmen.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Ray and Ray Show. I'm Ray Carroll, and my co-host is Ray McAllister. And today we're at the Royal Oak Music Theater, and we have a surprise coming up. We're going to have Sparky Anderson, I think, aren't we, Ray?
I hope so.
I hope so, too.
And I'll tell you, one day we're going to meet a few other people, like Alan Trammell's supposed to be here, Bo Schembacher, U of M, and like that much. As you know, tomorrow starts the Sparky Anderson Golf Classic.
That's right.
It should be very interesting, and I hope you stick around for all these nice interviews.
Is Ray Lane going to be here, Ray?
Ray Lane will be here.
That'd be nice.
And we will see him if possible, and we'll see other people too. So take a little break, folks, and we'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you're not going to believe, but this is probably the dean of baseball, like Casey Stengel was, but now he is George Sparky Anderson, used to be our Detroit Tigers coach and also the Cincinnati Redlegs coach. Sparky, it's good to meet you, and I'll tell you what, I've watched you many times, and I've enjoyed the many years you've had with the Detroit Tigers.
Well, I enjoyed all the years, some better than others, but I will say this, I enjoyed Detroit. The people in Detroit and Michigan, period, they're working people. You know, they're people that are for real. They're not that say one thing and look the other way on you. When they tell you something, they mean it. They tell you directly.
Well, I tell you, Sparky, the people that I've known in the many years that I've been on this planet just think that you're probably one of the nicest and most congenial individuals that ever coached the Tigers. And, you know, I was hoping like crazy before you got out of there that you would have gotten another pennant, doggone it. That's what I want for you because you're so well-liked, Sparky.
Well, you know, you always hope for those things, but you have to appreciate, and I found out since I've been out of the game, and I look back on the 26 years that I managed, and I say, how lucky could someone be to have all the good things that happened to me happen? When you're in it, for some selfish reason, you never look and are thankful. And then when you get out and you look back, you say, boy, I was a lucky person.
That's right. Well, I think you have been, Sparky. I think you've been real lucky, you know. But so have the Tigers.
Yeah.
Well,
not lately now.
Well, I'll tell you what, this year I am really pleased with the way they're playing this year. Randy Smith, the general manager, has done a tremendous job. When you look at the fact that basically there's only 2 players left of 25 that were here in 95 when I was here. They've changed 23 players, and their ball club has really improved. I watched them play in Anaheim 2 days, and I said right then, I said, this here is not the same club I used to watch play.
Sparky, one more question, I'll let you go. How would you compare that when you had the Cincinnati Redlegs to the Tigers?
Well, they're different clubs. Of course, you had the DH over here, which was different. But you have to be honest, and you always have to be fair. The Reds put about 3 or 4 Hall of Famers in there. That's awful hard to undo. You know, they were one of, in my opinion, one of the great teams. I don't know where you place them, but they were one of the great ones.
I bet you had an inspiring career. Do you have any future plans? You're going to get into coaching again, or?
No, I have no plans that way. I do have plans to stay close to the game. I do television color for the broadcasting for Fox at home for the Angel games. I enjoy watching them play. They're an outstanding young club. I think in 2 or 3 years from now, we're going to be looking at a club similar to Atlanta.
Oh, yeah? I want to ask one more, then I'll let you go. I don't mean to keep you like this. I know it's a big deal. What is this tournament that's where you're sponsoring? Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, what it does, it raises a tremendous amount of money for us, for the kids. See, our foundation is a lot different than a lot of other ones. Ours, the money goes to the children. There's none of us getting paid. We're not taking Etzel Ford who is unbelievable, don't take a dime. Alan Franks, you don't get a dime. We don't have a process. I always said when we started, if you don't want to give it to us free, we don't want you. We don't need that. The kids are the ones that we want to give it to, and the kids are the ones that we want to try to help. And by helping the children, I think you relieve such a tremendous burden off of their parents, the worry that they have.
Well, good enough, Sparky. We want to get a picture with you and Jeremy, and then we'll let you go. Thanks, Sparky. And
Sparky, thank you very much, Sparky.
Good luck to you. Folks, we're here at the Sparky Anderson class. We have a treat for you. If you ever listen to Channel 4 News, you're listening to one of the greatest newscasters since Mr. Just retired.
Mort Grimm.
You took over Mort Grimm's job, didn't you?
I sure did.
And what's your name again? I forget.
Devin Skillion.
Devin Skillion.
Yes, sir.
Tell me, where are you from, Devin?
Originally from Kansas, the area around Fort Riley and Junction City, but I grew up in the military, and so by the time I was 18, we'd moved about a dozen times. So where I'm from is the hardest thing you can ask me.
How long have you worked for Channel 4 News?
I've been here for 2 years now.
2 years?
Yeah. Came from
How come I haven't seen you on there? I must not be watching enough Channel 4.
We got to get you on Channel 4 then. That's the deal.
Have you ever watched too much of Channel 7? Or,
that's the problem.
Tell me, how did you get started in your career?
I originally went to the University of Kansas with the intention of becoming an actor, and was studying theater. And somewhere along the line, just fell in love with journalism. Was working on a lot of radio shows and things like that in those days, and doing TV commercials, and just really started to fall in love with television news.
Have you always wanted to be a newscaster? Did you like sports like that?
Yeah, thought about switching to sports a couple of times because I love sports, and but deep in my heart, I guess I'm mostly a news person. Plus, sports is kind of my passion, and somebody once told me, never let your passion be your job.
Is there any way you can come down there, tour, and see some background of the news? It would be possible?
I think so, yeah. We don't do tours all that often, but for you guys, maybe we can work.
Well,
okay.
that's nice.
Why don't we get you watching Channel 4 anyway?
I swear, I watch all the news. I really do. Why haven't I seen you, though?
Well, I'm there at 5 and 11. I don't know.
I must be in bed.
That's it. 11 o'clock is late for a lot of people.
Okay, folks, we're going to meet some of the people down at Channel 4.
Right.
Meet Chuck Gatica and a few others. And we like to...
Chuck, you on our program before.
Yeah, but we'd like to see how a newscast is put together, and we'll show you something different. We're excited. So again, thank you very much, and good luck to you.
Thank you. Now we're going to let you go eat.
I'll do that. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right, folks, here we're having a big treat. If you're listening, probably my second favorite station, because number one, we had Channel 4, now we're going to Channel 7. This is Guy Coleman, and I'll tell you one, he's one of the wonderful, pleasant voice.
Guy Gordon. Yeah,
I'm sorry. I apologize again.
I almost stopped and said, is his last name Gordon? Although I got it wrong all this time.
But it's one of those air names. I change it every now and then.
This is Guy Gordon from Channel 7 News, where he does a lot of newscasts. And Guy, you are really quite a newscaster.
Well, thank you very much.
It's nice to be here, our 10th annual Motor City Golf Classic, and I get to host the event. So that's one of the nice sidelines you get when you do this.
Where are you from?
I'm originally from Grand Rapids, been here almost 13 years now, so this is home.
Guy, how long have you been working for Channel 7 News?
I got here in 1984, right after the World Series victory, about the week after, and I've been here ever since.
Oh, okay.
So I'm pretty lucky.
Okay, would you say hi to Robbie Timmons for me?
I will. Absolutely. Now, which Ray is which? I want to make sure that I get the right one.
Well,
right?
my last name is Carroll.
Okay.
C-A-R-R-O-L-L.
Well, that's a little like my last name's Coleman.
Yes, yeah. Leave it to my co-host,
I do apologize.
That's the first rule of journalism, It always gets the name right? I don't always do it either. So
well, I tell you, Guy, you've had so many things. First, I want to say I enjoyed the one that works with Marilyn Turner. I mean, not Marilyn Turner, but works with Robbie. Frank Turner, is it? Or
Frank Turner, right.
Frank Turner. He did a wonderful thing.
We got to get you watching more often, Ray.
I know
you're struggling with these
I know it.
here.
I know it. But I want to.
You want me to do the talking?
I enjoyed him when he did that thing about the swings.
That was a nice piece because I think it really wasn't about swings. It was about the school board not getting it, and I think that was a great illustration of that.
It was a really good illustration. I think it made people wake up. I think they don't realize it.
That it did.
Well, good luck to you, and I hope everything. You get your name right one of these times.
Thanks a lot, Ray. I appreciate it. I'm just giving.
Thank you, Guy, for being with us.
Here. Nice to see both of you. Have fun and enjoy the day.
Yeah. Hey, we have probably the biggest name in the Ford family, Edsel Ford II. I'm glad to meet you, Edsel Ford.
Good to be here. Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Tell me about yourself. I know you're named after the car, but what else?
No, the car was named after him.
Well, actually, it was neither, but Etzel Ford was my grandfather, and the reason I'm here tonight is I'm chairman of Catch.
Tell us about Catch. What is it?
Well, as you know, Catch was a charity founded by Sparky Anderson about 5 or 6 years ago, and I'm the second chairman of the board of trustees.
Yes, could I ask you something, Etzel? Do you own an Etzel?
No, I don't own an Etzel. Well, I left my wedding in an Etzel, but I don't own one personally.
You left what?
I left my wedding in an Etzel.
Well, I tell you what, how long was that car in existence? About 2 years, 3 years?
It was in existence 3 years. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I thought it was a nice car. And if you've got one nowadays, you got yourself a pretty penny. If you've got one, it's in nice shape.
Absolutely.
Tell me, what are your future plans? Are you retired? You're not retired. Are you working with?
No. I've been with Ford Motor Company for 22 years, and I'm presently the president of Ford Credit.
Oh, you're a busy person.
Small little finance company.
Well, that's all. I'm glad to meet you. And I'll tell you what.
Nice to meet you,
I
too.
hope you good luck to you in anything you do.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'd like to ask him another question. Etzel, could you please tell us exactly what this benefits? Does this benefit children that are handicapped or that are...
Well, all the proceeds that we get at Catch, 50% of them go to Children's Hospital of Michigan, and the other half go to the pediatric clinic at Henry Ford Hospital.
Oh, I see. Well, that's very nice. That's a real nice setup for that, you know?
It's good.
Well, again, we want to thank you, Etzel, and good luck to you, and we're glad to meet you.
Great, thank you.
Because I know I work at one of your companies that just got off a strike.
Oh, yeah. Well, welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back, Carter. Because we work at General Motors, but I'll tell you one thing, Ford has got quite a product, and we like to have some of that profit over General Motors. If you don't mind us.
Now, profit sharing. The people who work for Ford get a nice piece of money for profit sharing. What do we get at General Motors? $300? I couldn't buy us an Etzel.
If you excuse the expression, we might get a McDonald's gift today after what we did. But you probably hear everything like that.
Now, we got a good company. We've been lucky.
Well, good luck to you, and thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Nice to see you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.
We got a real treat. If you've never met the Quinn in Detroit, you're meeting Dennis Archer, the mayor of Detroit, and it's quite a pleasure to meet you, sir.
Thank you very much. Delighted to be here. And it's great to be here at the theater in Royal Oak for a very great fundraiser, Catch, that will benefit the children that need medical help at Children's Hospital and at Henry Ford's Hospital. I think it's just outstanding. Sparky Anderson, the conception of the idea and the money that has been raised, it's just been wonderful, the entire community.
Mayor, you've done a lot of things for Detroit ever since you took over Coleman Young, and I think you've done a great big job making Detroit back to normal.
Well, I'll tell you, we had a negative image that needed to be improved, and I'm very delighted to see that the national press has given us great exposure, and they've been very complimentary of the city.
You're a busy man. You work hard. You know, Mayor, I tell you one thing, you've done a lot. You've shown people, get them off the ground, and I'll tell you one thing, I hope Detroit keeps on prospering, and I think it will.
We will, and the reason I think we'll do that is that there is an appreciation for the fact that this is a region that needs to work together. It's not Detroit versus Auburn Hills or Detroit versus Novi or Livonia or Grosse Pointe, but rather it's the Detroit region versus the Chicago or Cincinnati or Cleveland or Baltimore region. And there's so many things we need to work together on that it's in our best interest to work together as an entire community. I think people have an appreciation for that.
Yes, Mayor, you know, I was watching you on television, and you looked so awful happy when the Red Wings took that Stanley Cup. The people of Detroit behaved so well, and here right now at this present time, this is another feather in your cap for these nice people that are doing this for Children's Hospital. It's just more marvelous.
Well, I will tell you something. We have a very generous community. People believe in children. They want to be of help to children. When you think about it, as adults, after all is said and done, the whole issue is how can we make life better for children and for senior citizens. And in this instance, we're trying to raise some money for the health care of the children's needs. And everybody, and you guys are doing a great job too. Let me thank you for being out here and sort of carrying the message of what's going on. In the city of Detroit, our image is coming back, the city's coming back, we're creating jobs, we're having new housing, the property values are going up. When our property values go up in the city, property values go up in our great suburban neighborhoods in the southeastern Michigan. We all win when we work together.
Well, we want to wish you good luck, and thank you very much for being on.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Mr.
you
Mayor.
very much. Thank you so much.
Pleasure of meeting you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
From the mayor of Detroit, now to the hero of the 1990 Pistons and the 89 Pistons, Benny Johnson, known as the 007 man. And also the color commentator was George Laha. Benny, I tell you, this is the first time I've ever mentioned, but it's a pleasure to know a man of such quite a stature as yourself.
Well, thank you very much. It was a great compliment.
How do you like Detroit Pistons? Are they doing pretty good? Are they going to do good this year compared to last year?
I like the Pistons. I thought they had a great season last year. I thought they got off to a great start. This year, I don't think anybody's going to sleep on them. They're not going to be surprised by them. But I think for the Pistons to get back to the championship, they need to get a big man. They need a big man real bad. If they get that big man, they could be a contender again.
Yes, Vinny, tell me, could you tell our viewing audience what you do on your off time, Vinny?
Well, really, I don't have any off time anymore. Of course, I started a packaging company with Lambert Packaging Company. And recently, I started an automotive company on my own. And what we do in an automotive company, we're a supplier for General Motors, Chrysler, and Ford. And that's going quite well with us. And I also do the color for the Pistons on the radio on WWJ.
Well, Vinny, do you make your home in Detroit?
Yes, Michigan is my home.
What, Ray?
Vinny, I want to ask something. What do you think of Dennis the Rodman, the wrestler?
I haven't seen him wrestle yet, but I've heard, you know, all power to him. I mean, you know, he's making a lot of money. You know, he's had a lot of success in Chicago. He's doing a lot of good things, and I'd like to see him wrestle, but I haven't seen him yet, so I can't.
I have.
So you wouldn't dye your hair purple?
I don't have too much hair to dye, so what I have left, I better leave it alone. You know what I mean?
Are you and George going to continue doing the color commentary?
Yes, I will continue to do that at least for another couple of seasons, and see how it goes.
Vinny, I want to wish you good luck, and I'll tell you one thing, it's a pleasure knowing you.
Thank you very much.
Vinny, thank you very much for being on our program, Vinny.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Let me have a little picture of this little guy once there. All right, folks, you're not going to believe what this is. The Ray.
And Ray.
And Ray.
And Caroline.
Well, you know, we have a treat. I remember this man a couple of years ago when he first came down to my studio on the road with Ray when he had the chiropractor ad. Remember?
I remember we had that, and I had a back adjustment that day, and I went off. I've been a lot better since that time, Ray.
And that was January 15th when you came down. It was on Martin Luther King Day.
Was that right?
Yes, sir.
I didn't realize
That's when
that.
we taped it.
I didn't realize that. See, he keeps good, close record.
Ray, am I to understand that Ray is coming down to the studio again for us? You said something to that,
but if you don't mind, we'd love to.
I hate to put you in a spot in front of the camera like that,
We
Ray.
talked about that a month and a half ago. The hockey season ran long, as everybody is happy about.
Thank goodness.
And then I had some commitments, and we will do it, okay?
Good.
All right, now I'd like to say something to this beautiful wife of his, Carolyn. What a beautiful name that is. Carolyn, how you been?
Fine, fine. Enjoyed the Stanley Cup very much.
How did you make this guy here?
We went to high school together.
Oh, is that right?
Believe it
High
or
school
not.
sweethearts.
High school sweethearts, yes.
And then high school sweethearts, and then we've had a lot of fights because of high school sweethearts.
Oh.
Because we've been married 43 years.
But you're not fighting no more.
No. No, we're too old to fight.
When we start off with a fight, we don't remember why.
That's the way it's supposed to be. I think.
True.
Mrs. Lee, how do you, when he's on the road, how do you put up with a long season? You know, it's pretty rough on you, isn't it?
Well, it really is. And I remember when he did Tiger baseball, there were a lot of the young Tiger wives who were very disturbed by the fact that their husbands traveled. But that's their livelihood. And I know women who will say, oh, I can't stand this, I can't do this. But it's their livelihood. It's what they do. And you roll with the punches. And there were days that when holidays would occur, if it was on a Thursday and he was on the road, we'd celebrate it on Sunday. It's like any other job. You do what your husband has to do and you work around it. And it really isn't that difficult.
And if you brought home a nice gift from time to time, not every time,
That helps
you
too.
try to buy your way out.
Well, Ray, you had a tremendous season. The Red Wings had a tremendous season. I know you really enjoyed every minute. You got doused with a chain for the second time in your life.
Yeah, you're right. 68, the World Series with the Tigers, and this year with the Red Wings, it was outstanding. But it was almost like, I can't say it was a parallel to the Tigers, no way, of 68, because you had a hero every night. The Red Wings, if you remember back in December and January, were playing a lot of tie games, or they would lose the lead in the third period. And I had some doubts in my mind the first couple of weeks of January whether this team had the guts to play playoff hockey and to win the Stanley Cup. And I tell you what, by the time the end of February, early part of March came along, those guys were sailing, and it was a great team. It was a great team effort, and there were a lot of heroes on that team that deserved a lot of credit.
Now, and they stayed focused.
Yeah.
The one thing
they looked like they gelled in just a nick of time.
Yes.
They did, and there was no interference.
Really? Yeah.
You know that as a member of the media, both of you guys, you try to get in there, but there was a time 1 month before, right after the regular season, there was no way media could interfere with what the team had. The team had to focus. Carolyn mentioned the word was focus. Scotty Bowman's got to deserve credit for that. He's tough to get along with, but he had the right formula.
Oh, I also want to congratulate making the Broadcast Hall of Fame this year, too.
Got lucky. If you work long enough and pay enough people off, something's bound good to happen.
Yeah.
Well,
She gets the Hall of Fame for housewives and being married to me.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Ray, you've done a marvelous job, and we're actually going to close the show right here with you two, if you don't mind.
Yeah, you don't mind, we'd like to close our program out this way, Ray?
Hey, I'd like to.
Thank you.
Okay.
You know, folks, before Ray does the closing, I tell you, I want to thank Ray personally for what a job he's done in professional, because he has been quite a person, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. And I'll tell you one thing, I'm glad to say I grew up knowing the man that did a wonderful thing to broadcasting.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ray Lane.
Okay, Ray, why don't you close the show like here at the Royal Music Theater?
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, and Mr. and Mrs. Lane, thank you very much for being on our program.
Thank you
very much. Ladies and gentlemen, please remember to watch the Ray and Ray program every Wednesday night at 6 o'clock on Channel 44, Waterford Comcast Cablevision, and please stay tuned for Diane's Keyboard.
And don't forget to watch Ray and Lane and all those beautiful reruns and everything, and all that beautiful hockey stick. So good night, and so we see you next time.
Good luck, guys.
Thank you very much, you two. Gosh, it's been so nice to have you two on. You know what, Ray? If you can all possibly make it down to us. He's not going to bother you now.
No, not at all.
Okay.
No, we just had a very weird busy after the Stanley Cup.
I know what it's like.
Okay, thanks, Ray.
No, and I'll do it, Ray.
All right.
I told him 6 months ago.
You know, it'd be fun. It'd be the Ray and Ray and Ray show.
We went to Raleigh to see our son, and we went to see our dog, and they said, and you know, when you retire, don't you do?
On the road is seeing the situation in purely human terms. A driver gets in his car, and the car and driver become a single impersonal machine. A rider puts on a helmet and protective equipment, and like the car driver,
Some of his identifiable human characteristics.
like his hairstyle or a great smile, begin to
From view. So it's quite possible.
that the driver will treat the rider on his motorcycle in a way that he'd never treat him face to face. And the way the car driver treats the motorcycle rider is important, because in a collision, a rider is more vulnerable than a driver. Car drivers have a steel cage all around them. By contrast, the motorcycle rider has only his riding skill and basic protective equipment to depend on. But these very different vehicles share the same road. To give this some human scale, we're going to ignore the vehicles for a moment. Here are a rider and a driver walking down the street. Look at that. Nobody would consider that a reasonable way to behave on foot. And it's not a reasonable way to behave if the rider is on his motorcycle and the driver is in his car. The most common accident between drivers and motorcyclists involves a car turning in front of an oncoming motorcycle. Even good drivers sometimes don't notice motorcycles or misjudge the rider's intentions. To avoid this kind of hazard, drivers need to appreciate the differences between cars and motorcycles. That way, they can understand why riders do what they do. The first factor to consider is size. The driver and the rider may be the same size as people, but not in their vehicles. Motorcycles are much shorter and narrower than cars, so they present a smaller profile. If a driver is subconsciously expecting a motorcycle to be as long and as wide as a car, he may think it's farther away or going more slowly than it really is. The solution to this is to take the time and effort to look not just once, but twice, and yes, 3 times, to make sure just how far away the rider is and just how fast he's approaching. The motorcycle's size can make it difficult to spot. Motorcycles are sometimes hidden by traffic, road signs, and other distractions. Even if you are actively looking for motorcycles, you may not see a motorcyclist who is maneuvering safely and legally in traffic. If you saw somebody walking ahead of you on a sidewalk, would you think, why should he have the right to that whole space? So I'm going to share it with him. Now, you wouldn't do that to the rider on foot, and the consequences are much more severe if you do it in your car. Motorcycles will use the whole lane in traffic to see and be seen. What confuses car drivers is that motorcyclists may not always be in the middle of that lane. There are several reasons for this. They may be moving to one side of their lane or the other to see ahead better or to be seen. They may be avoiding hazards that mean nothing to cars, like debris, oil, or potholes. Either way, the motorcycle will use the whole lane, so don't try to share it. While passing and being passed, cars and motorcycles can come dangerously close to each other. Again, the most important thing to remember is that the motorcycle will use the whole lane to react to hazards that may mean nothing to a car. If a motorcyclist is passing you, you should maintain lane position and speed. A driver who unexpectedly changes lanes, speeds up, or slows down can surprise a passing motorcyclist, perhaps even endanger him. Allow the motorcyclist to complete his move. You'll find that many riders will even wave a friendly thank you. If you are passing a motorcyclist, give him an entire lane. The worst thing you can do is crowd into the same lane as the motorcycle. To avoid a dangerous situation, you should stay in your passing lane until you are well past the motorcycle. Returning to your original lane too soon can force a motorcyclist to swerve into traffic or even off the road entirely. Intersections are the most likely places for a collision for 2 reasons. First, because the car driver may not detect the motorcyclist. Second, if he does see the motorcyclist, the car driver may make a wrong interpretation of what the motorcyclist is doing. For example, the motorcyclist may change lanes to prepare for changing traffic conditions ahead. Or the motorcyclist may have to move to one side of a lane to prepare for a turn or to avoid a hazard that the driver doesn't see or doesn't worry about. The solution? Wait until the motorcyclist's intention is clear. You should also know that few motorcycles have automatic canceling turn signals. So riders sometimes forget to turn off their signals. Before committing yourself into moving into the motorcycle's path, be sure that you really do understand what the rider is going to do next. It's important for both riders and drivers to communicate their intentions, use your turn signals, and cancel them after a lane change. There's nothing more worrisome on a motorcycle than having a car following close behind. Now, this means the rider has 2 things on his mind: what's happening in front and what might happen from the rear. Why do car drivers sometimes tailgate a motorcyclist? Because a driver can see past a motorcycle easily. He may not consider the bike much of a threat or realize how close he actually is to it. The car driver may even be concentrating on the vehicle in front of the motorcycle. When following a motorcycle, allow at least a 2-second following distance. You work it out like this. Choose a marker that the motorcycle you're following is passing. For example, as the motorcycle hits the shadow of this bridge, count 1001, 1002 before you pass the shadow. That's your 2 seconds. By giving the rider a 2-second following distance, you remove the worry of being tailgated. The motorcyclist has more time to stop or to make a safer maneuver. Always look before pulling out. It's especially important to check the rear view and side view mirrors when backing up and to look over your shoulder too. And remember, all vehicle operators must avoid drinking and riding or driving. Alcohol and other drugs reduce your ability to make important decisions about speed, distance, and risk. It's a terrible burden to be responsible for needlessly killing or even hurting another person. Now that you understand motorcyclists a little better, share the road with them. Treat them like the guy next door.
Where you want him to touch him?
Oh, yeah, look at him. Oh, he's got a pointed stick. He's got a pointed stick. Oh, yeah. What? What?
Good morning. Welcome to Holly Grove, Michigan, or Holly Grove, England, wherever we are. They're at the Michigan Renaissance Festival in Port City. This is Ray. The other Ray is sick today. I'm sorry to see you're sick in bed, Ray, but you're going to miss the time of your life. And, of course, this is Michelle Bonin, the PR department of the Michigan Renaissance Festival. Michelle, it's glad to meet you.